Green Pace Security Policy Presentation by Matthew Clockle. Overview, Defense in Depth. Here's a model of cybersecurity in the Defense in Depth illustration. The Defense in Depth helps keep critical assets and data secured. Each layer provides a hurdle for an attack. Each layer must be taken down to access the assets. The more layers and diversity of layers, the less vulnerable. Here's a threats matrix. Priority and levels show the severity, likelihood, and remediation costs. The threat matrix prioritizes the threat level. 10 principles. Validate input. Heed compiler warnings. Architect and design for security policies. Keep it simple. Default deny. Adhere to the principles of least privilege. Sanitize data sent to other systems. Practice defense in depth. Use effective assurance techniques. Adopt a secure coding standard. Here are some coding standards. Do not define a C-style variadic function. Do not declare or define a reserved identifier. Never qualify a reference type with a const or volatile. Do not write tactically ambiguous declarations. Overload allocation and deallocation functions as a pair in the same scope. Avoid information leakage when passing a class object across a trust boundary. Avoid cycles during initialization of static objects. Do not let exceptions escape from destruction or deallocation functions. Do not modify the standard namespace. Do not define an unnamed namespace in the header file. Encryption policies. Encryption at rest. Stored data. This is protected by software or firewalls. This stored data is encrypted, which helps prevent a hacker from accessing the data. Encryption at flight. The data being sent is protected by encryption. This will provide protection from vulnerabilities such as man-in-the-middle attacks. Encryption in use. Data is secured at rest, in flight, or in use. This ensures confidence and security when transmitting, storing, or using data. AAA policies. Authentication. This is a way of identifying users with credentials to ensure proper access. This is usually done with the user login and password or other authentication ways such as biometrics. Authorization allows the user to perform what they are authorized to access based on their access level. Users can create, read, update, or delete data based on their access level. Accounting monitors and measures the resources users are using when accessing in the system. Unit testing helps limit vulnerabilities within the software. Buffer overflow. Unit tests will catch an error if the user inputs more than the max character input. Limiting user input characters will prevent this type of vulnerability. The diagram on the right shows unit tests that have passed, and there's one that unit tests have failed. Here's a diagram of the automation summary. Here you can see a figure-8 pattern showing pre-production and production software development life cycles. You can see the DevSecOps in the center. The DevSecOps pipeline is integrated security and secure coding practices within the software development lifecycle. These include creating secure code and testing. ASTRI is a static code analyzer that proves the absence of runtime errors and invalid concurrent behaviors in safety critical software written or generated in C or C++. ASTRI is a sound that is, if no errors are signaled, the absence of errors has been proven. The problem vulnerabilities within security. The solution is secure coding practices on a defense in-depth system. Building layers of security to reduce vulnerabilities. The risk is a cyber attack, and the benefits would be a high security built software. Recommendations. Testing software throughout the software development lifecycle will help identify gaps in the security policy. Gaps include being unprepared to face cyber attacks, new types of cyber attacks, low-level defense in depth incorporated into the software, less diverse defense in depth security layer. Recommendations include testing often to exploit vulnerabilities, secure coding best practices, a defense in depth layer that covers multiple types of attacks, monitor the software security has proven to be vulnerable with constant cyber attacks within society today. Incorporating secure coding principles and best practice standards in the software development lifecycle will help reduce vulnerabilities of a cyber attack in the software. References.